please state your name for the record?
Sure, Peter Paul Seeger, that's S-E-E-G-E-R.
Good afternoon, Mr. Seeger. I just have a few background questions for you. Where do you currently reside?
I currently reside in French Quarter Trailer Park, 24.
Okay. And what do you do for a living?
I am a construction worker. I build fine furniture, heritage furniture.
I have a few questions about your relationship with Ms. Testa. How did you meet her?
I was asked by some buddies of mine to construct a stage for them. And where that stage was being built was a Shotgun Willie's. It's a gentleman's club. I saw Adriana there, and we hit it off immediately. She was beautiful. She's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
What is her relationship to you?
She's my girlfriend. I love her very much. We've started off hot and heavy right then, and things progressed great.
How long have you known her before the incident?
Before the incident, you mean June 14th.
Yes.
We've been dating. She moved in about 3 or 4 months before in March. Before she moved in, we saw each other for just a couple of weeks. It was pretty quick, but things felt right and felt like the right thing to do.
How would you describe your relationship?
Oh man, it was great. I mean, we loved one another, got along, laughed, had fun. Really no complaints, none at all.
Now I have a few questions about the night of question, June 14th, 2014. What were you doing that day?
That day, nothing too much. Adriana had moved in with me, and the trailer just kind of wanted to make it more of a home. So earlier that day, I'd gone up to my storage unit and got my mom's fine china, and also a picture of the king. Had to put it in the living room. And so that evening I was in the process of trying to put that picture up.
And when did you hang that picture?
That night, June 14th.
And so you hung the picture?
I attempted to.
Attempted to hang
Attempted to hang the picture. I was going to hang the picture.
And why did you not hang the picture?
Well, evidently, Adriana I started marking off the places for the nail holes to hang the picture. And as I was doing so, Adriana came around the corner. She was going to work that night. Like I said, she worked at Shotgun Willie's. And she had been drinking, and she just flew off the handle. She went nuts on me. She started screaming at me, screaming that the picture was just awful, that she would not.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Your response?
This isn't a statement against the declarant. He's just merely describing what he observed while he was trying to hang the picture.
Your Honor, I believe he was going into she said she was about to say, or what Ms. Testa was about to say, and that would be hearsay.
Sustained.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Seeger, how was Ms. Testa reacting?
Angrily.
Objection, Your Honor, improper character evidence.
Overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, how was she acting?
She was
Seeger?
acting angrily. She was acting unreasonably. It's my trailer. Tried to explain that to her, that I wanted the picture hung above the couch, and she started spitting on me, screaming at me, trying to make a move for the picture. I had to hold it above my head to get it away from her, and she said that if I tried to hang
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Your Honor, this is not hearsay. It's not going to prove the truth of the matter asserted. And further, it falls under the exception of excited utterance. We've already established that the picture is what set Ms. Testa off. And we've laid the foundation for that in our questions.
Response?
Your Honor, it is an out-of-court statement being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. What Ms. Testa said, what he's trying to say, Ms. Testa said, they're offering for the truth of the matter asserted. It is hearsay.
I'm sorry, what was the statement that she allegedly said?
She told me that if I tried to hang the picture, she would run outside and scream to the whole world that I was hitting her.
And so you're saying that, if it's not for the truth of the matter asserted, what is the purpose of
I'm
it?
sorry, Your Honor, I misspoke. It's excited utterance and further a presence and impression.
I'm going to sustain that objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Seeger. So what Ms. Testa said, but you said you tried to hang the picture, and how did she respond to that?
Like I said, she responded angrily, and she just bolted out the door.
And when did you follow her?
I followed her. Well, I was concerned about her. Like I said, she had been drinking. I was concerned for her state. And so I followed her out the door to make sure she didn't hurt herself.
And what did you have in your hand at that time?
I had the hammer in my hand. I was, as I said, attempting to hang the picture. The hammer was to mark off the places for where the nails would go.
And why did you not set the hammer down?
I was completely blown away. I had no idea. Just didn't cross my mind. I didn't set the hammer down because it just did not cross my mind to do
So, after Ms. Testa left the trailer, then what did you do?
Like I said, I followed her just to make sure she didn't get hurt. She outran me. She was just running down the road screaming at the top of her lungs. And then I realized this, I figured I was just making matters worse. I figured I was not doing anything to help, so I just returned to the trailer. And then the cops showed up.
And how did you interact with the cops? What did you do to help?
Quite willingly. They asked me to get on the ground, assume a position. I had the hammer in my hand still. Didn't want to drop it. Still wanted to hang the picture. Didn't think it'd be that big of a deal. So I got on the ground, gave up the hammer willingly, accompanied them to the police station, and answered all the questions they had.
And Mr. Seeger, why are you taking the stand today?
Because I've been accused of a crime I didn't commit. I'm here to tell the truth and clear my name.
One moment, Your Honor.
Mr. Seeger,
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Sorry, Your Honor, okay, thank you.
Mr. Seeger, what is this a picture of?
These are the fasteners that I would have put on the back of the picture to hang. These screws go into the holes here, into the back of the frame, and then a nail is driven into the wall, and these triangles there keep the picture in place.
And this fairly inaccurately reflects how they were found in your house that night?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to offer Exhibit 5 into evidence.
any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
And
Now, I'm sorry, Mr. Seeger, you were saying, what is the purpose of the screws?
The screws go through the holes and into the back of the frame to hold the hangers on there,
Okay.
and then nails are driven into the wall, and the triangle part.
Objection, Your Honor. This exhibit hasn't been published to the jury. I would like to ask for the witness to refrain from publishing it to the jury so that they can see it.
well, since it's already been, entered into evidence, he can either testify to it or publish it at this point.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, just to clarify, Your Honor, you can't push it to the jury?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, continue, Mr. Seeger. I'm sorry about
And as I was saying, the nails are just driven into the wall, and the triangles are just placed over the nails, and it's held into the wall. I'm not an engineer, that's what it's done.
Thank you, Mr. Seeger. Permission to, permission to retrieve Exhibit 6 and 4, Your Honor?
Okay.
Mr. Seeger, I have a few questions on these exhibits. I'd like to turn your attention to Exhibit 6, please. What is that picture of?
It's a picture of the king.
And where is there any damage on this picture?
There is none. This looks exactly the way it looked when I was going to hang it.
Thank you, Mr. Seeger. And I'd like to turn your attention to Exhibit 4. What is this a picture of?
And this is the hammer I had in my hand, and I followed Adriana out to make sure she didn't hurt herself.
And where is there any blood on that picture?
There is none.
And Mr. Seeger, I hate to have to ask this, but it is the reason why we're in court today. When did you ever hit Ms. Testa with a hammer?
Not once, not ever, never crossed my mind.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any cross from the,
Yes, Your Honor. May it please the court? Mr. Seeger, you testified earlier that you never hit Adriana Testa, correct?
That's right.
You testified that you never hit her with the hammer, correct?
I never hit her at all.
Mr. Seeger, you were in here, however, when Ms. Testa took that very stand and stated that you had hit her with a hammer that night.
I was in here, yes.
And Mr. Seeger, you were in here when the doctor took that same stand and testified that.
Objection, Your Honor, putting one witness against the other. Response?
I wasn't pitting a witness against him, Your Honor, just clarifying that he had heard the testimony that was presented earlier.
Overruled.
Mr. Seeger, you were also in here when the doctor took the stand, Dr. Derek Shepard, and testified that Adriana came into the emergency room that same night with 2 head wounds consistent in size and shape to a hammer. Oh, well,
Objection.
excuse me.
We already covered that, and that was excluded, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, I'll rephrase, Your Honor. You were in here when Dr. Shepard took the stand and testified that he made his medical diagnosis based on the fact that Adriana had been hit in the head with a hammer, correct?
I don't
Objection,
recall.
Your Honor, that's just rephrasing the same question that we've already dealt with. It's been excluded.
I believe the witness did testify as to that, so, your objection's overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I heard the doctor say it looked like it might have been a hammer.
Mr. Seeger, let's continue on to the night of June 14th, 2014, and talk about what exactly happened that night. The police, they searched your home and found several items, didn't they?
I gave them consent to search my home, yes. I had nothing to hide, and they did find items, I suppose, yes.
Yes, Mr. Seeger, they found a painting, correct?
Yes, it did, of the king.
They found picture hangers and screws, correct?
That's right.
And they even found a hammer, didn't they, Mr. Seeger?
Sure.
Now tell me, you don't use a hammer to put screws in the wall, do you, Mr. Seeger?
No, you don't.
No, Mr. Seeger, you use a hammer to hit your girlfriend in the head, don't you?
No.
Mr. Seeger, you testified earlier that Adriana Testa was seen fleeing your home with you following behind her, correct?
I was following her to make sure that she did not hurt herself, yes.
Mr. Seeger, you followed her with a hammer in your hand, didn't you?
I had the hammer in my hand because I just didn't think to put it down. I just ran out to follow her.
But Mr. Seeger, you also just testified that the police found picture hangers and screws and a hammer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that hammer served no purpose in the trailer and no purpose outside of the trailer other than to finish what you started.
Objection,
didn't it?
argumentative.
Sustained.
Mr. Seeger, hammer served no purpose in the trailer, did it?
That's incorrect. Those hangers, you have to drive a nail into the wall
Mm-hmm.
after you use the screw to attach the hanger to the back of the frame.
But Mr. Seeger, you said you were just marking where to hang the painting, right?
Well, then she went nuts on me, and
Mr.
she ran out
Seeger.
the door.
You said you were just marking where to hang it.
Sure.
And Mr. Seeger, after you chased Adriana Testa through the street with a hammer in your hand, you decided to go hide.
I didn't chase her. I followed her, and then I returned to the trailer.
Mr. Seeger, you hid in the trailer, didn't you?
Not anybody. When the police showed up, I willingly came out.
Well, Mr. Seeger, in your previously sworn statement you gave to the police, you stated you were hiding from Adriana, correct?
I'm not sure I did.
One moment, Mr. Seeger. Mr. Seeger? Exhibit 6. Yes, sorry, upside down. Exhibit 9. And, sorry, turn here. Mr. Seeger, in your sworn statement, you said, I stopped at our trailer and I hid, didn't you?
If I could see that, it might help.
Sure, Mr. Seeger. Take a look. Right here.
That's what I said, yes.
You said that you hid.
Sure.
Mr. Seeger, when the police arrived, not only were you hiding, but you were hiding hammer in hand, weren't you?
I gave it to him, so yes, I was.
Mr. Seeger, when the police arrived, Adriana was with them, covered in blood, wasn't she?
I'm not sure if I would say covered in blood. She was bleeding, yes.
In your statement, you said she was a bloody mess, didn't you, Mr. Seeger?
Okay. Yes.
Mr. Seeger, the woman that you testified earlier that you loved so dearly had scrapes on her hands, right?
Yes. I guess.
Scrapes on her knees, right?
I suppose so.
the woman you claim to love, with scrapes on her hands, knees, and head. Her head was injured as well, covered in blood as with the police, but you were hiding, hammer in hand. Weren't you, Mr. Seeger?
I was nervous.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
Briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Seeger, earlier when I showed you the pictures of the screws and the markers, why did you have those? The hangers?
Yeah, to screw into the back of the frame, and then to hang the frame on the nails that I would have driven into the wall,
So why did you need the hammer?
to drive the nails into the wall.
And Mr. Seeger, when you went back into the trailer, why did you go back into the trailer?
Because I couldn't catch her, couldn't prevent her from hurting herself. Figured I was making matters worse. So I just waited there till the cop showed up.
Mr. Seeger, what if any involvement do you have in Ms. Testa's injuries?
No,
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Witness may step down. Defense may call its next witness.